Hello everyone, Mr. Lang here, and I'm working in our Cisco Cyber Patriot packet tracer exercises, and I'm on 291 basic switch and in-device configuration. Let's go ahead and read what our scenario is. So as a recently hired local area network technician, I've been asked by my network manager to demonstrate my ability to configure a small local area network. My tasks include configuring initial settings on two switches by using the Cisco IOS and configuring the IP address parameters on host devices. Host devices are those computers. To provide an end-to-end connectivity, you are to use two switches and two hosts on a cabled and powered network. So let me kind of show you how I set this lab up and some of the tools that I'm going to use throughout the lab. So first of all, I downloaded these two files and I added them to my local repository. So let me go ahead and show you that. In my local repository, I have all of my labs here. In my basic switch and in-device configurations, here is 291. When I open up 291, I got my PDF with my directions. I have the packet tracer file as well. And then I have a scoring report, which you will have when you are all done with this lab. And so again, I am using GitHub Desktop to keep track of all my commits throughout my progress throughout this lab. Another tool that I am using is my Notion. Here's my notes for Cisco Net Academy, basic switch configurations, anything from naming a switch to securing access to the console, the privileged exec mode, excuse me. So I'm not going to go through all these, but I use this for this lab, which is very nice to have. All right, I also have how to configure a PC's IP address. So I have all my notes ready to go for this lab. Another tool that I have is obviously Packet Tracer itself. This is the lab 291, and before I began the lab, I went and I set up my KeePass database for all of my passwords, my IP addresses for all of my hardware for the lab. So this is my Class A switch, both the exec console line as well as being in privileged exec mode. Again, here is my passwords. I went to the lab and looked at that. That's for my console line. Here is for my privileged exec mode there. All right, and so I added those here. Now you can't see them. If I open this up and clicked on this, now you can see that password is the same here. And the same thing with my privileged exec mode. I can see that that password is the password that they gave me in the lab. Not very secure passwords. I know I would make a much more secure password, but for this lab, I want to get points for it. So there we are. I do look at the addressing table here for my IP addresses for Class A switch, as well as the Class B switch, as well as the student PC and the student number 2 PC. I have their IP addresses according to the IP addressing table. So I got all that stuff set up before I begin the lab because I'm going to need to double click and use these passwords and IP addresses to configure my hardware as I go through the lab. So I'm just going to slide that off to the side there. And so here we are. We are actually in the lab. And you know what? I got a console line selected there. I'm going to go ahead and delete that console line and begin by showing you this. So first of all, in previous labs, we were able to click on the switch and configure it. Can't do that now. We've got to use the PC to connect to the switch using a console line. So I'm going to go down to all my different hardware devices. Those are locked. Different things are locked. It looks like I can only access things that they want me to in this lab, which is kind of cool. So by this lightning strike, this is all my media. All right, these are all my different cables that I want. And as it says here, use a console connection to access each switch. So I'm going to use the console. And I'm going to click my student PC 1. And this is the console connection for that. And I'll drag that over to Class A switch there and choose console there as well. So now that I've got it connected, I need to actually configure that through the PC. So I'm going to use the terminal and this is asking me just some basic default stuff about the baud rates and stuff. I'm just going to click OK. Now this may look familiar to us, all right? You know what? I'm going to choose exit because I was just in this switch before, but this may look familiar to us. Okay, press enter to get started. All right, so you can see that I've already configured this. I have my message of the day. This is a secure system, authorized access only. If you try to get in, you may be violating, and we can prosecute you. So I'm going to go to my KeePass. I'm just going to double click password, come over here, right click, paste it in, and press enter. And now I'm into the console mode. All right, but I want to get into the privileged exec mode. So I'm going to choose enable. And now I'm going to go back to my KeePass, and now I'm looking at my privileged exec. According to the directions, I'm going to right click and paste that password in, and now I am in the actual configuration mode for privileged exec. I'm going to go ahead and do show, run, and enter, and now I'm getting into the actual switches configuration. Here is my privileged exec password. It is hashed. I can't tell what it is. It is, so I've done that configuration. Here's all just my ports that I have available to me. I also gave it an IP address, again, according to the table here. There's my IP address and my subnet mask, again, according to the table here. I have my banner message there. And then my console line password is not in plain English, which is great. Another thing that I want you to show me, if I look at my notes, is I want to be able to see the verifying my IP address configuration. So I want to use this here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I'm going to come on over to my switch, and I'm going to go ahead and right click and paste it and choose my enter key. This is cool because this kind of shows me what ports on my switch are actually up or running, what ones are actually being used right now. And I have 2 ports, 1 and 2. And that makes sense because I have 1 port connected with the straight through cable going right to the port or the switch itself. All right, so that's probably on port 1. And then on port 2, I have it connected to my Class B switch. We can connect multiple switches together. So those are both up. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. No other ports are open, but hey, if they were, we'd be able to see that. I have my VLAN set up, my virtual local area network number 1 set up, and that is up and running right now. All right, and there's my IP address I configured it with. So kind of cool. So we have that set up. Another thing that we needed to do, I'm going to close that, is we needed to set up our IP configuration for this PC, and this is for the PC itself. I'm in the desktop IP config mode here. All right, and I see that my student IP address is this here, and that's what I gave to this right here. And then I gave it a subnet mask. All right, so now I got to configure switch 2. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose delete. Do you want to delete student 1 PC? No, I do not. I want to click on that and choose that. I want to delete that console cable. I don't need that anymore. But I am going to go ahead and choose select tool. I'm going to select my console cable, plug it into student 2, plug it into Class B switch console. And now I can click on my student 2 computer. I can go into the terminal and choose OK to that. Press my enter key. Again, I have already set up this, so you can see that it is asking me for my console password. I'm going to go to my KeePass console line. I'm going to go ahead and just double click that to copy it for a second. To be on the clipboard, you can see I'm into the Class B switch. I renamed it as given in the directions. I now want to get into my privileged exec mode, so I'm going to go ahead and choose enable, and it is password protected. Great. I'm going to go down to my privileged exec, double click on that password there, right click, paste, and enter. I am now in configuration, or I'm into the privileged exec, I should say. So I'm going to do a show run to see that, yes, I have my privilege exec mode password encrypted. It is encrypted there. Beautiful. As well as my VLAN IP address is set up. I have my message of the day banner set up, and then my console line 0 is set up with a hash password as well. I cannot see what that is. I also want to do a show IP interface brief. So I'm just going to copy that from my notes here in Notion and come on over and paste that in and press my enter key. I can now see that my 2 ports are up, again connecting the PC to the switch and the switch to class A switch as well. So those 2 are up. I'm going to go ahead and press my space bar. I can see my VLAN is also up so it can communicate with others. So this is great. So the last thing to do is to ping my computer student 2 through the network. So I'm going to go and choose a command prompt, and I'm going to go ahead and type in ping, and I am going to go to my thing here, and I want to ping. I'm on switch A, so I want to ping switch B. So I double click that, and I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar once. So that is my IP address for my second computer there, and it is sending information and it received information. So it sent 4 packets, it received 4 packets, and I didn't lose anything. Awesome. So that is working, but let's go into our student 2 and let's go into the command prompt, and let's go ahead and ping, and I'm going to go to my key pass and I'm going to ping my switch A. And so I'm going to right click and paste and enter and see if we are pinging. And yes, we are. So cool. So my small local area network is working. I can communicate with 2 end devices. All right. And so I'm going to check my results on my assessments here. Looks like I have passed everything, which is great. So we have our small network that is set up. Again, so cool to be able to use this software to work in theory to make a small network. So super cool. Can't wait to see you in my next vlog. Have a great day.